Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome, everyone.
Morning.
Any additions to the agenda, Kathy?
I do not have anything other than I handed out new handouts for the tax forfeited presentation that Amanda's going to be doing at 10 a.m.
Okay.
No changes, I'll move the agenda.
Okay.
I'll support that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approve the consent agenda. The minutes of 7/12/22. Approve the commissioner warrants. Approve the auditor warrants of 7/15/22, 7/22/22, 7/26/22. Approve the hospital warrants of $344,376.96.
Mr. Chair, I'd move for approval.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Not much for me today. First, I'm going to give you a little project update. I would say that I think within the next week, we could have both of those bridge decks by island poured. So it'd be nice to beat the heat, and you kind of got to play the weather because the concrete can only get so hot. So we'll see, but I would say within the next week, a good chance they'll both be poured. So nice to see. Always nice to see the deck get done. You know, it feels like you're pretty close to the end then. So, the other item I have, if you recall, I can't remember. A couple months ago, I think we approved a warranty on our Edgerton blade. Well, Nate was talking with the salesman for that, and he dug into our machine a little bit more, and our fleet, I guess you could say, and he wanted us to consider not doing a warranty on the Edgerton blade and doing it on the Ruthven blade instead. The Edgerton blade is a little bit older, but it's had all the major components done now, and he felt in looking at the hours and everything, we'd be better off putting it on the Ruthven one because that hasn't had any of that work done. And I agree with him. So yeah, that's the long story short. I think we should probably switch that as per their recommendation. And sounds like the engines are good till around 10,000 hours, but we're seeing transmission failures as early as 5,000, and we've got 5,300 on the Ruthven blade. So I mean, we're right there for the big stuff on that one. So I think that would probably be the way to go.
Does that really take action on our part, or can we just empower Nick to take that decision? What would you like, Nick?
I guess we did action to
We approved it for the Edgerton.
yeah, so I think we should probably
I'll make that motion then,
Okay.
that we switch those two machines around.
Okay.
I should maybe clarify one more thing. They gave us two bids, as you can see, a 2,000-hour warranty and a 2,500-hour warranty. Man, that's a lot of money for that extra 500 hours. That's an extra $5,000. So I'm up to whatever level of risk you want to take, but I'd be fine at the 2,000. I think. I mean, that's a lot of money for the extra 500 hours, but whatever you think, I'll be fine with. So.
And where's that machine at as far as your rotation? How many more hours do you plan on putting on that machine, or how many more years?
So that. I wasn't going to talk about this yet, but it takes so long to get these, say a year or so from when you order it. I think we could keep an eye on that and try to order one so it would show up before that warranty expires, but that might mean ordering it say 4 months before the end of the year. You know, you wouldn't pay for it until the next year, but you'd be ordering it before that budget was technically approved. we've done that before. That's how I would recommend doing it, but that's up to you.
No, I like that idea.
Okay.
I know we've talked before about the replacement of them, and now, I don't know, has the used value come up a little bit? I know a few years ago the new price was really high and the used value was next to nothing because there's no market overseas for them.
Yeah, I think that emission stuff has been in play long enough to where I think that's leveled out some. You know, in the beginning, nobody wanted to deal with it, but now there's just...
That's all you've got anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty much all you've got. So I think that's how it is. I haven't asked. Like
The reason I ask is I sometimes wonder myself whether or not we are, because of the high cost replacement, if it actually is more economical for us to try to run a machine longer, knowing that we got the risk of having to put repairs into it, to balance out what would those cost repairs be versus this exceedingly high price of replacement. Keep that in mind as you look at your
No,
budget.
I do. It's my understanding that's how Murray County does it. They have 2 mechanics, so we have 1. So there's something to be said for that. But, you know, if you look at depreciation on a machine, I understand that you can put a lot of money in repairs for that. But with everything being so electronically controlled, I know a complaint that their maintenance foreman expressed to Nate was like, it seems like all the time their machines are throwing codes and then they're derating them. You know, so all you do is pretty much have enough power to pull over and
Yep.
you know, get it loaded on a trailer. Well, then that doesn't do any good in a snowstorm, you know. So it's probably a dependability issue, but I mean, if that was something you wanted, we could possibly maybe keep a spare blade around, like we have a spare truck, you know. You know, that might be a good way to go. I don't.
It's hard to know.
Being out of,
It's hard to know, but I mean that's an option as well.
Edgerton's blade was out of service for just about 6 months when they repaired it, so
Right.
that's another factor.
Yeah, it was out a long time. We sent our spare truck down there in the meantime to get those roads covered, but
That doesn't do the blading, though.
no, it doesn't. No. So
Okay, your motion was for the 16,000 or the 4-year, right, Dan?
Correct. Yep.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second that.
okay, so that's for the 2,000 hour,
Right.
correct? Okay. Okay. Yep. That's what I'd recommend going with, but I mean, I'd be fine with the other way too. So.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right. Any other questions for me? Otherwise, that's all I had today. Pretty late day. Okay.
How much rain did we get? No.
That I don't know. My gauge had just about a 1/10 in it, mainly dust and muck.
That's about where I was at.
Yeah. I was hoping it'd be a lot more than that. It was nice rain, but I know. I guess timing's important too. The corn is tasseling, so.
Probably would have mounted to something if it wouldn't have quit until September.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Bill?
Good morning.
Good
Morning,
morning,
Bill.
Bill.
All right, I've got 3 items I'm bringing today. We could start with the Veeam. You see one called Veeam. This one. All right, so we've been using Veeam for about 10 years right now, and you know, we started out with kind of the trial and moved into the real simple features, and then a couple years ago we went with the enterprise version, so we have a lot of the features that we need, and we've come to use that a lot. This is our primary backup resource, and this is our primary replica resource. And then we also use this tool to take copies of our replicas and push them onto tape, and we take copies of our backup and push them onto tape. So this is our main product. So last year we've been doing a cloud backup to the cities for quite a while, but we were only doing the Document Pro server with that. Those are really probably our most valuable records, although a lot of department heads probably disagree, but as a county, those are probably our most valuable records. The cost of that backup and the quantity of the images we have was bringing that to $500 a month, and just to do that. So for quite a long time, we've been trying to work out this deal with Nobles County, and they've got another vault that they took and it's the old jail. They put another server room in. So we're going to be saving our backups to that for the same money, but we're gonna do everything. We're gonna literally move everything there. We'll still have our copies here, but this cloud backup piece will be there. So that's one thing that this license covers, the new feature part that we need. We need more sockets for that. The other issue that has come, I wouldn't say issue, but the other thing that came up last year was different state agencies have different rules, and they have different rules to follow, and some are pushed from the feds that they have to follow. So there's a little bit of a change in, some say the interpretation, some say just the straight up rules in the CJDN policy, that the stuff from the FBI that comes down that says you have to create, or you have to treat criminal justice information this way. In that difference, we have to segregate everything in our host servers. So last year we bought one host server, this January we bought another one. So now we have 2 more cores. All of our law enforcement stuff is all gonna be separate on the separate SAN, but that adds, you need a taller license because you've got more sockets. So in keeping with that, that's where we are on our backup, to be able to back all that up. It works out to be about $1,000 a month. So where do you spend your money? A lot of counties are saying, do we spend our money to combat ransomware and stuff like that? Do we spend that for more insurance, or do we spend that on trying to mitigate or prevent any kind of thing like that happening? And I'm kind of more in that camp. And to me, $1,000 a month is probably a pretty good bargain when it comes to just trying to keep a copy of everything, just one more place. Dan, you had a question?
Yeah, last week at Southwest Health and Human Services, we approved purchase of some new backup equipment there, and apparently they're gonna have one kept in Lyon County and one kept down here where you do the back. Is this similar to that, or is this
It's the idea or the strategy is really similar to what we're doing, right? We just give them some space,
Right.
So it's geographically different, far away from most everything else that they have. It's even far away from their other building here.
because we've already got that existing relationship with Lyon County being the host for Southwest Health and Human Services, is there any rationale to sharing us up there instead of Nobles County?
This came up. It worked out this way. Nobles has this
Because this is
available.
a physical spot, a physical vault, whereas Lyon County doesn't have a physical vault space for us.
Oh, they have something. I don't know where they are on space. It's been a long time since I've been in their rack, and they have both Southwest and the county together. This just worked out that Nobles had this available. We do a lot of stuff with Lyon County too. Don't get me wrong. Any other questions or sticker shock? I see that.
So the choices you got for us then are what again?
2 years or 3 years. So it's like a renewal with enhancements. And this was planned. It was in our budget for this year. Not going to 3 years was not in our budget, but getting it for this year's cost to add another year just makes so much more sense to me.
It does.
And you can make that additional cost work in your budget?
Yeah, well, we're gonna have, not that we're gonna have a lot of surplus, but we're gonna have some surplus because I cannot find, on one of the next purchases here, I can't find the quantity of the hard drives I had planned on buying. So I'm gonna take what I can get. in that sense. So yeah, there's gonna be room in the budget for that extra $12,000.
So again, then if we went to 3-year, then for the 37,000.
Correct.
What all would we get for that? That's just strictly licensing, or that's hardware as well?
That's licensing.
That's just licensing?
Yep.
Wow.
Right.
Mr. Chair, I'd move for approval of the 3-year.
I'll support that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries on a 3-year.
Okay, thank you. Next, let's look at the printers, or the printer. This is to replace the printer that's in my office. We call it the admin printer. It has been the county administrator's printer, but that's where it sits. I did receive a bid from Century yesterday, and it turns out that it's the tallest bid of the bunch. So I have it here, but it wasn't included in the board packet. So Access Systems is, they were called Elite Business Systems here a couple of years ago. This is the same company that we've done business with them quite a while. Highway has their most recent printer was from them, printer, copier, fax. The prices weren't as high as what was anticipated to buy them outright. The leases were quite a bit higher than they had been in the past. Two of them quoted a Sharp. The one from one source is actually an older model Sharp, and that one is going out of production. The one from Access is the newer one. You know, not much for reviews on it. I mean, not a lot of reviews to read on it because it's that new. So maybe if we do approve that one, we are taking a little bit of a chance on it, but I think all the machines are very, very similar, and actually the pricing is pretty good. What's really the big sell for me anyway on the Access System Sharp is the cost of the prints. They just are beating everybody pretty good on.
Yeah, they are.
Other than that, we have had relationships with all these companies, and they've all brought us fairly quality stuff. So I would recommend going with the Sharp from Access Systems.
I see the notation for the plus overages on the number of copies. Do we get into that quite often, or?
About twice a year, budget times, when we're printing lots and lots of stuff, that's when we get overage.
And then I suppose the beginning of the year.
Sometimes. What's interesting is their overages work out to be about exactly what their maintenance cost is.
That was my next question, is how bad?
The price is all a wash really that way. But if we don't make our count, we're still paying that monthly fee.
Right. Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve the lease then of the Access Systems Sharp
We want to buy.
purchase with that contract. Yeah.
I will second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. And the last item I'm bringing today is purchase of additional storage for the sand that we bought last year. 15 SSD drives is what's on this quote. In my budget, I had to buy, I was anticipating to buy 31 of these, but availability is an issue right now, and I'm hoping that these 15 are still there as they were a week ago. Morris is just killing SHI on the price, and I'm not sure why that is exactly, but we'll take it. So this should move just about everything else off of our old Sand 2 that we got in 2016. So we really got our use out of the old IBM systems. There will end up being a couple things left there. when we're all said and done. And we'll keep that in production as another repository, a place just to store a backup that will pull the tape. It'll end up saving us some tape time, or some time, well, doing backups. Other than that, there's not much value in them, you know, when we run them that long, you know, so that's kind of where we are in that. The price on this is just slightly more than what we paid for them last year, from Morris. Any other questions on that?
Yeah, originally you had anticipated 30, but you said that you can only get 15 now.
Right.
Can you go ahead and place an order for all 30 and just have those other 15 on back order? Or they won't lock in this price for you?
I don't know. I don't know if they'll lock in. When I'd originally talked to Cora, she said they had like 26, and I'm like, well, okay, maybe I can get all 26, and then she called back and said, well, there's 19 left. So I'm hoping they're still there. If they're not there, I'll end up coming back to you, and maybe we have to do something where we approve something up to this amount.
Yeah.
But I can see the SHI price being something where we're gonna be.
And how much of a corner is it going to put you in not getting your full quantity that you need?
We'll make do. We'll make do with the older system until, you know, it's hard. It had been hard to get replacement drives for that. So I mean, because it is, you know, quite a bit older, even for the old one. But I really don't want to sink any more money into that. That's why I'm thinking we'll get moved off of that as soon as we can. If I see onesies and twosies of these, I'm gonna buy them one at a time and try and make up for that. I found 2 so far this year doing that.
Well, if she had 19, would you like approval to buy all 19 at this point, or do you think those are gone?
Let's just go with the 15. And we'll get everything that we're going to move over to that, and let's see where we are.
Okay, I'd be fine with that. So.
I'll make that a motion.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Kyle.
Good morning.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Kyle.
Since it's not 9:30, I think I'll maybe just go through some of the other items that I have on the agenda, and then we'll maybe start the feedlot stuff at 9:30. So start at the bottom. Did you guys all receive a copy of the Manette Crans Dam inspection?
Yep.
Area 2, who installed the dam, does an annual inspection. I don't know, there's a few things on there, nothing major, and they've been on there for several years. We did just have the property sprayed at the same time that they do the county ditch. Tom Sano does that, and he said he did get out on the island and spray that along with the shore. So I think most of that spraying has already been done. And then I got to talk to the highway guys as far as doing some additional clipping out there and epoxying the outlet pipe, and then we'll have to work on that trash guard.
Yeah.
That's an ongoing, every year it pops off, so. But overall, it sounds like everything is working as it's supposed to, so no concerns there. But any questions on the dam? Otherwise, we just need a signature.
Is the highway crew gonna remove the cattails from the intake as well?
When we do we'll have to take the trash guard off. I mean, we'll have to loosen it, and then at the same time you're doing that, you would pull them cattails out of there. And it's gonna, I don't know if they wanna do that, or if it'll be me, or somebody would get waiters, or it's just kind of a pain to do it, so.
Is it pretty deep there?
I think it's only about waist deep, so it's not terrible, no.
He said waiters, not scuba suits.
Well, Dave and I don't know if this was quite a while ago, but Dave and I, when they filled with corn stalks, we took turns crawling down that intake pipe and pulling the cattail or the corn stalks out with 5-gallon buckets So you can get in there, so.
And you need action on the report.
Yep, they would like it signed by the chair, acknowledged and approved by the board, and then I'll get it sent back to them.
Move for approval.
And I will second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item I have is our septic loan program. This is a program that started in 2007. I came to the county board. We were getting state dollars, kind of as a loan dollars through state programs, giving out to producers for updating their septic systems. They were low interest. So we decided to start our own county loan program. It started with $200,000 in 2007. We've been doing it since then. 7 years at 3% interest payable on their taxes. It's been working really well. To date, we've loaned out about $650,000. It was set up as a revolving loan account. Like I said, it started with $200,000. About 3 years later, we added another $100,000 to that. And then the interest that's generated is put back into that account. So right now we get about $60,000 paid back every year that we're loaning back out again. Last year we loaned out just under $100,000. This year we're already at $50,000. So we're exceeding. We're right at the threshold of exceeding what we've got for money in that account to loan out, and there's still requests for more loans. So I'm wondering if the county would be interested in approving another $100,000 to be dedicated towards that for expenditure for loans to landowners.
It's a good program. We need to continue it.
So I did talk to Steve about it, did talk to Amanda. We're getting much better interest on that than we would be through any other investments. So it's basically a good utilization of reserve dollars, to generate some interest. So I couldn't get an accurate number, but I'm estimating we've generated about $100,000 over the 15 years that we've been running the program with that $300,000. So I think it's working very well. And then if we ever get to that point where we're all done, there will be that balance that could just be transferred back to the general fund. Correct.
Well, and the purpose of it obviously is to help facilitate correct septic systems out
right.
there. So
yep.
we're helping our citizens be able to afford to put these systems
right.
in. So.
And it's complementing our grant program. Last year we got about $60,000 in grants for low income people based on their tax forms. So they can get a grant for either to 50 to 75% of the cost, and then they typically will use the loan dollars for the remaining. So we can get people updated without having any cost anything out of pocket.
It's been a good program.
It has been.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, any time a property is sold or transferred, it has to be inspected and brought up to date.
Right.
So
yep.
How are we doing across the county as far as getting these old antiquated systems? Are we halfway through it?
We're probably close to 60% thereabouts. We have had some systems that were put in 20 plus years ago. There's some of them that are having some issues. They're estimating the life expectancy on a lot of these new ones to be 50 years now. We're seeing, not necessarily the whole system, but parts and pieces that need some tweaking maybe.
Is this both mound systems and gravity systems both, or don't very many systems qualify to be gravity anymore?
There's not very many gravity anymore. There's only maybe one a year,
yeah.
right? But yeah, it kind of depends on how it was installed basically.
Mr. Chairman, how about the Trotsky Project? Does that people qualify for this program too, or?
Not for if they were doing individual systems, yes, but since it's a central system, they're working through the small cities development grants.
They got another whole program to.
There's other federal entities out there that have way more dollars than this. But if that wasn't going to happen, then everybody would be forced to do their own individual in their backyard. Then we would be doing it piece by piece through the county possibly.
And that would be a big need if that happens.
Right. I'm hoping that I keep hearing it's happening, but I don't.
Progress is slow.
Right. I did hear the other day from Ben Denton wondering if we had heard anything or have started any conditional use permit processes, and I said no. So I think they're still moving forward, but yeah, that's about 15 years in the works, so.
But your ask is for $100,000.
I think $100,000 would complement the $60,000 that we get paid back annually. It would give us the flexibility to meet the need currently.
And that 100,000 is gonna come out of what budget line item?
That would be an Amanda question. I did ask her to be here. I don't know, she isn't here, but they made it sound like it would just be a general journal transfer. So I don't know what account or where their money is, where your money's at.
Out of general fund reserves.
Yeah. So by us approving it right now, we're not gonna put Amanda in a tight situation.
You've talked with Steve about it, so he's aware
Yep.
and he knows
Right.
where the funds would come.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be better to let them make that choice rather than, making that in part of the motion to dictate where it comes from.
Right. Well, with Amanda coming down in a couple minutes, should we wait until Amanda gets here to take action on this, or if not?
That would be fine with me too, so.
Because I certainly, support what you're doing. We need to do it. I just want to make sure that
I'm
Amanda's.
sure the board's gonna support 100,000.
Yeah.
Just that, I guess, for myself, I wouldn't care. We could make the motion and then they can transfer the funds wherever they feel is best.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and make the motion to transfer 100 from wherever they feel is appropriate.
Okay, and I will second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to transfer $100,000 to the septic fund.
Okay, thanks. It is 9:30. Ben, if you want to come on up. I've got also 2 feedlot applications that we're having public meetings on today. One for Greg Hannenberg. Ben is here for that one. It's a new feedlot being proposed in Osborne Section 4. In the northeast quarter, it's kind of your typical 2,400 swine finisher, 720 animal units. And I don't know, Ben, if you have anything.
No, not really. Just
That we have, yours is a place that's in the circle, right?
Yep, I live. Yeah, that's where I live.
That's what I figured, yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So nobody else would,
And the proposed site must be in corn now.
No, that's in beans right now.
Oh,
The
okay,
proposal.
in
Yep.
beans, okay.
Yep.
The land is owned currently by Greg.
Yep.
So everything is coming through in Greg's name with Ben. It's your intentions to
Once the
acquire.
pigs are in the barn, then I'll buy it from my dad.
Okay.
Those 2 places into the southeast and southwest then, those are both occupied, it looks like, and have the residents been contacted yet?
Well, they're out of the range.
Nope, that circle is a quarter mile. That would be the minimum setback requirement from the nearest neighbor.
Yep.
The public notice for the feedlot, proposed feedlot is sent to all neighbors within a mile.
Yep.
So all landowners and neighbors within a mile, along with putting in the paper. So that meets the required notice requirement.
So they have been notified. And
Right.
Did you get any feedback from them at all, any of the
I
neighbors?
talked to one neighbor that just gave me a little grief just for fun. That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard from anyone either, so. So there is no action required. Basically, this is just a public procedure that's required by statute in order for the producers to receive a petitioned EAW exemption. We've never had one, and I don't expect that we will, but I think it's nice to have these meetings so that you guys are informed of what's happening, and if there are concerns from the neighbors, they can come and speak to a board rather than having to deal with, one-on-one with landowners that they may not get along with, so.
Well, I guess at this point, Greg, you got our blessing.
good luck.
Thanks.
Okay. So, yeah, just give me that plan whenever you can.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thanks. The next one is for Scott Wassink, and Kathy's gonna get him on phone.
Now, just a couple of years ago, didn't we approve part of this lot to the south?
We did. Yep.
That's what I
Yep,
thought.
Scott's been adding.
Scott Wansink with Elanco, please leave a message.
He's in an airport, so he may not have great reception.
Hold on.
We just
What's
approved
happening here?
the bigger portion of this on the south side of the building a couple of years ago. He's just expanding it to the east end of the building, right?
Correct, yep, he's just adding another section of yard. His intentions are basically to expand the yards to allow for more space for his cattle, so.
And it all has manure collection, right?
Yep, he did work with Soil and Water along with some cost share dollars and our technical engineers. Is he there?
It's not working.
Okay. We did install a stacking slab it's a concrete type bunker that all of his manure gets pushed into. And then there's an outlet pipe to the south that goes through a grass filter strip for the filtration of that manure contaminated water. And then the bigger barn to the east is a pitted barn. So that has its own concrete containment below the slats of the barn. So it meets all of the pollution reduction requirements that the state has, and he's just under the 1,000 head. I should probably mention that when he applied for the application, the notice that I sent out is actually going to be more than what he's going to have on site. He cannot have more than 1,000 head without having to go through the state for the permit. So the actual permit that'll be issued will be issued for 999 finishers, rather than what's listed here as the 680 and 400, which is 1,080. So he would be over that 1,000 animal unit threshold. So the permit will be reduced down to 999 finishers. There's a bit of a mix up there where you get people look at animal units and not numbers. He's very close, but he will be reducing numbers to stay under that 1,000 head.
Are there any questions from the board? I guess again, give Scott our blessing.
Yep, it's an existing site, just modifying it a little bit, so nothing too major. And then the current stacking slab will be utilized for the manure off that yard also.
Thank you for your work out there, because 10, 20 years ago, that was not a good situation there.
No, they actually stockpiled their manure in the waterway just to the southwest of the yard.
That was not good.
So yeah, over the years we've had a fair amount of sites get improvements made and fixes, and
Well, it's good to see that he's seeking approval again,
Right.
that he's doing it
Yep.
the correct way, so.
Yeah, that was a problem site. Anything else? Any questions?
Any questions from the board for Kyle? Any comments?
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Kyle.
Thank you.
I guess we can take a 15-minute break.